Impressive, that's all.
And we're live.
And we're live. Hey, middle-aged gamers, welcome back to the latest episode of the Middle-aged Gaming Podcast. I am back after spending 2 days in a hotel last week, which was interesting, but thank God I'm in front of my beautiful gaming desktop and not in front of a tiny goddamn laptop, because those suck. But onto the stories today. Lots of stories, hardware, software, gaming news, gaming heights, or historic milestones, and lots of other stuff in between. So today we're going to start off with Adam first.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So my first story is going to be about, oops, that's the wrong one, is about PlayStation and Twitter. So, or I guess you guys call it X now. I don't know. I still call it Twitter because I'm stubborn like that. And it's a better name. But apparently, recently, Sony has decided that they are no longer going to be having Twitter support on the PlayStation 5. So it used to be that you could directly upload things to Twitter. That was one of the functions of the share button on the controller. They got rid of the select button. It was replaced with the share button, and it used to be able to connect directly to Twitter and YouTube. And yeah, that was it. It was oddly enough, you couldn't connect it to Twitch uh, or Facebook directly, just those two. But now Twitter's going to be gone. So, yeah, the only thing you can really share to anymore is going to be YouTube if you want to share in any of your content. If you do want to share Twitter content, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to upload whatever your content is to the PlayStation app on your phone and then access Twitter through that. So, the reasons behind this, I'm not quite sure what the reason behind this is. However, apparently Xbox did this a couple months ago. So they stopped supporting Twitter and or X or whatever you want to call it. And it looks like Sony is making that move as well. So currently the only console that remains compatible with X is the Switch. And I guess we will have to wait and see how much longer that's going to last. Apparently the reason is probably because X is now they were saying it's something like $45,000 a month for integration or something like that. So it's a little more than half a million a year just to allow that kind of integration. I don't know what it was before, but apparently they upped that price. And yeah, Sony said not worth it to us. So when the contract's up, sorry, that's it, we're done. So that's my first news.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's
Antoine.
exactly it. No, that's exactly it. That's just because X or Mr. Musk has become greedy, of course, because X is in such a great financial health. They are trying to find a way to, add funds to the platform, and they lost two very big customers, Microsoft and Sony, in the space of a couple of months. Not a smart move, but that's how X is these past few months.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can just upload stuff to my phone through the PlayStation app and then from the phone put it on Twitter and it costs Sony absolutely nothing and it's very minimal effort on my part. So
Exactly.
I can talk about this from my job sort of standpoint, right? Like before on Twitter, right? There are a bunch of platforms that I wanted to set up for Meg. One is called Hootsuite, where you can manage our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all in one place, right? So you don't need to log in separately. I don't need to switch between Middle Age Gaming, the Work Podcast, Inside Crypto, or my own Instagram, right? I can do it all in one place. Going back last year, right, with that platform, I could tag people. So I could do @Lidisai, right, on Twitter. And it would pull up Lidisai, and I can see this is the right Lidisai, not the fake one that we recently found out last week, right? In that platform, they just said, oh, by the way, Twitter is charging us more money for this, so we're not going to allow this functionality anymore. So that's gone, right? And there's another place called Fedica, which allows you to sort of do tweet threads. Tweet threads, right, are where I could write blah, 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 blah. I could attach an image, and I could do like a little mini paragraph in Twitter, right? Now, that's the same thing that you could do that on other platforms like Hootsuite, like Sprout Social, and you could do that, right? But now there's only one place which does it, and then there's multiple tiers of money that you have to pay in order to do that on that other platform, right? Because again, Twitter is saying, hey, if you want to access our API, you got to pay more money, as Antoine did the wonderful hand gestures just now. So it's I mean, honestly, it's terrible. And we saw there's a website called Apptopia. I was listening to a podcast about this on today's Wednesday, right? So Monday I was riding my bike, and a guy pulled some research from Twitter, and Twitter traffic is down 7%, or Twitter users are down 7%. Daily active minutes is about the same, but they lost like 4 million users or something like that. And honestly, it makes sense that, like, why, as going back to what Adam said, is right, like, Musk's gonna suck out as much money as he can. I actually heard one of the Twitter engineers created a really, really cool version of Twitter. That one of the first lots of engineers were fired. So I'm going to check that out later. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think more companies are going to do that just because it's the audience is not worth it for what you pay.
How to destroy your company in 6 easy steps.
Yeah, buy it at 44 billion, currently worth 19 billion as of yesterday when I saw the article.
Ouch.
Yeah, but I guess it doesn't matter when you're the richest man in the world.
Probably true.
All right, Antoine, what's your second story?
Oh, my
Your
first
story, yes.
Well, that's gonna be a usual topic with me, I would say. You know, my love for indie compared to AAA game, right? And my news is exactly in this line of thought. I just finished Sea of Stars yesterday, and this is a game which is made with love by a small studio, and you can feel that they loved Chrono Trigger, they loved Golden Sun. It's exactly in this vibe. It's made with love. It's not expensive and or free actually if you have the Game Pass, and you play with a smile and you enjoy it. And then you have AAAs which come, but they are not here to make you have a good experience. They are here to keep you in game and make you spend money. Here I say hi to Diablo again. Hi, always them, right? And yeah, Diablo 4 has come up with a month bundle, which costs $65. So to play Diablo, yes, you need $70 to buy the game. You need $10 to $25 to get a battle pass for each season. And after, okay, fair play to them. Okay, it's not all negative. All the microtransactions are for cosmetics only. It doesn't impact your gameplay. So it's really if you have money to spend, right? But still, horse, which doesn't bring you anything else, just to say, hey, look, I'm so cool. $65. I can't, even if it's just cosmetics, and I don't judge people who do that. Give me 10 Sea of Stars and no more, Diablo kind of. I understand this business model which brings lots of money. I mean, I criticize it, but end of the line, it brings them lots of money. I saw the numbers. That's why they're doing this. People buy it. Fair enough. Fair play to them. Just, not for me. I don't know if it's just because I'm a middle-aged guy, or because if I'm renting all the time, or just because, I am so stingy with games. that's also, maybe a mix of all of those. But yeah, no, paying $65, so the price of 2 good indie games or more is if you have sales on a cosmetic. At least play gacha. You don't know what you're gonna spend on, but at least you get something. I'm not gacha, but at least it makes more sense to me. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, Adam?
I'm definitely not a gacha fan at all, but $60—that's basically the price of a game. It's
it is.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we're gonna pay the base price of the game, and then we're gonna pay double that price for this tiny piece of content relative to the size of the actual game itself. I mean, yeah, it just seems ridiculous to me, considering all the art that had to go into the game. The amount of art that had to go into designing these mounts versus the amount of art that had to go into creating the entire game, let alone the programming behind it and the beta testing and all that. How is this one asset or these couple few assets equal in value to the entire game. I do not understand that pricing model at all. That makes
But in
zero
terms of
sense to me.
benefits, the return on investment for them, for the studio, is
Oh yeah, but I mean at the same
tens
time, I mean,
times more.
yeah, and I understand from the business perspective, hey, let's make the money. But I mean at the same time, it's like, okay, I could make this game cost 3 times as much, and that's also beneficial to the company. So I mean, like
They
we're
They
yeah.
learned from Diablo, what was it, like Immortal, where there was this guy who spent like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for pay to
Yeah,
win or
no, it just
something.
that just seems
Or more.
predatory to me when you're like, we're well aware that people will pay any price for this, and so we're just going to create these ludicrous prices, and we know that if we make the game more expensive, people are going to flip out. So let's just make this really expensive content that's super easy to create relative to the game itself. And yeah, it's just to me creepy, skeezy. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, low hanging fruit, clearly.
Funny you guys mentioned this, right? Like today is the new season of Marvel Snap, right? Like as I mentioned before, one of the cool things with Marvel Snap, unlike other card games, is every month you get a new card or new sets of cards. And you mentioned in-game app purchases, and there was a $65 bundle for cards that I already have, which is a She-Hulk card, done by that very famous Japanese lady, Peach Momoko. She's a comic book artist, and she did this really cool version of She-Hulk. And let me tell you, I'm considering purchasing it, even though I already have the card, and it just means that when I play this She-Hulk card, my card will look different from other people. And yes, that is insane. But it's like I was trying to think about this as you guys are talking. I'm like, you can't really like customize your life, right? Like, I mean, what dude wants to look for like nice clothes? And then again, like if you're remote work like me, like when I go outside my house like 3 times a week, if I'm not cycling, right? Like maybe once a week if I'm not cycling, really. Like so what? And if I want to customize my bike, like customizing my bike will be more expensive than $65, right? And when I mean bike, as in bicycle, not motorcycle, I don't care about my motorcycle. Customizing your desktop, right? Again, more expensive. So maybe it's gaming cosmetics are affordable in a sense to like sort of show off and be an individual and be special. And like again, coming back to the psychology of it, I can see Antoine is ready to rebut my crazy argument.
No, it's just that if you guys do you have Love, Death and Robot on Netflix over
Yes.
there?
You mentioned it. Adam's watched it.
Yes.
I won't watch it, unfortunately.
I saw a very small dystopia not too long ago, very much in the same vibe. I don't remember if it was in this series or something else, where all the people have to bike, for their life, to earn, and they live in little cubes, and the only pleasure they have in life is that with the amount they earn with their bike, they can either buy food or buy cosmetics for their avatar.
I think that's
It
the
doesn't do
very
anything.
first episode of Dark Mirror. That's Dark Mirror. I think it's the very first episode.
Was Dark Mirror?
Yeah, it's Dark Mirror for
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
But I think it's the very first episode, in fact.
Maybe. Okay, maybe that's why I love it so much. I actually don't know Dark Mirror, but so if it is, then maybe I'm gonna watch that more. But yeah, it's exactly the same, right? you work like crazy to buy an avatar, some clothes for your avatar online.
Yeah, or you can change the background so you're like, I don't want to ride on this empty country road. I want to ride through a forest. Yeah.
I
But,
mean, again, not judging. If certainly it makes sense for some people. It's just,
for me, it seems kind of I don't know, not ironic, but kind of a weird and not a catch-22. I'm not quite sure how to word it, but like I see all these things on Twitter where people are like, there was this recent one where the girl was talking about like how how are people expected to survive in this world, where everything is just so expensive and you have to have 2 jobs just to make ends meet. And then, you have the one on the one side, you have people saying like the world is so expensive, it's so hard to survive, it's so hard to save money. And then on the other hand, you have something that it's like, okay, okay, so it's like saying, so basically for Korean's bike example, if the cost to customize your bike is the same price as the bike itself, why not just buy 2 bikes and then choose which one to ride on which day, right? You know, so like in the case of Diablo, if you're going to have the price of the full game and then you're going to have a price of a package of DLC, which is just a couple horse armors, that's the same price. Why not buy 2 completely different games? And then it's like, okay, I can have a horse in Diablo and I can have a horse in Red Dead Redemption. And then I have 2 completely different games with horses, right? and that's the same price as just, yeah, it just doesn't seem very logical to me from a cost analysis perspective. And I know there are whales that will do it, but that's why, yeah, to me. And then also to me, it's kind of weird because it's like, okay, there's got to be some sort of balance in there where I get it, you're making the most amount of money, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, you have these. I don't know. To me, it would feel better if it was cheaper and then it's more accessible to people, right? So you could have 1,000 people buying 1,000 people buying $10 content, and then you have 1,000 people with access to these horses, or you can make it elitist and only have 100 people paying $100 each, right? But then but if you did that, you have 900 people who don't have customized horses. I don't know. I would rather make it more accessible. I'm sure there is like a sweet balance where it's like, okay, only this many people are going to buy, and so if we jack up the price, we lose that number. I mean, we do the same thing at our school, try to figure out like what's the optimum class size per price, right? If you have fewer students, you need to raise the price, but if you raise the price too much, you're losing even more students, so you have to hit that sweet spot. So I understand there's a logic there, but I don't know. I when your DLC, which isn't even an expansion, costs the same as the original game itself, or very near. I don't know. That rubs me the wrong way. Just buy 2 bikes.
Okay. Moving on to my first story, which is I'm surprised that I know you might be surprised that I'm talking about this, but I love technology. And it's Sony's new acquisition fuels PlayStation's aggressive cloud gaming ambitions. This is from Tuktan. Tuktan is a very famous technical computer website which talks about hardware, like motherboards and RAM and that sort of stuff. Basically, it says Sony's latest acquisition should influence and propel its gaming streaming capabilities, potentially help solidify PS Plus game streaming delivery to mobile devices. Right? Sony Interactive Entertainment will soon purchase iSize, a UK-based company that has developed technologies around making video delivery more efficient. So I'm not going to read the rest of the article, but basically, we've talked about this sort of on and off over the last year or so. You should know, like Adam is a good example, right? Like as he's streaming now, right, to Twitch, to Facebook, to YouTube, he can see the bitrate that he's streaming at, right? And the bitrate should be a few megabytes a second or something. I think OBS displays it as KBS, or kilobytes per second, right?
You're at 2.6 megabytes a second currently.
So 2.6 megabytes a second, right? And actually, like that is below the standard of what you would consider HD. I mean, officially, right? So
thanks, my
so
internet.
for example, right? When I download these videos, right? Like typically, my video will be the largest size. Antoine's will be pretty large, and Adam's usually will be about a similar size. But streaming video and video in general, right? The higher quality you are, the more bandwidth you need. And that's a problem, right? When you're around the world, when you're on your phone, and when you're not in Asia, right? You have limitations, right, on your cell phone plan. Like here in Taiwan, you pay about $30 a month, $20 to $30 a month, depending on your provider, for unlimited 5G. So 5G means anything above 200 megabytes per second. So you go anywhere from 300 to a gig per second on 5G. And that's great. So 5G is wonderful. You can stream 4K gaming to a mobile device like a big 17-inch tablet from Samsung. I was going to say Sony for some reason. But that is a problem. So basically what Sony's acquisition is doing is they're going to be able to sort of compress the data, just like what Netflix does, right? Like that's why Netflix is number one. why they're better than Disney Plus, why they're better than Hulu, why they're better than everyone else, because they started all those time ago and they invested in the infrastructure, in the algorithms that compress the data. And it looks like Sony's gonna be doing the same thing with iSize. iSize has some really cool technology to take 50 gigabytes of streaming data, which would be about a Blu-ray size of data, and compress that down to like 10 gigabytes of data, which is awesome, right? I mean, it's not going to suck up your data plan if you do have one. And if you are streaming and gaming, you maybe game for 20, 30 minutes, and that's going to be less data. And while I know the guys might disagree with this, I think this bodes well for the future of all gaming, including mine, where in the future, I don't need to buy a computer. I just have a device on my TV, and I plug my controller into my TV, and I just stream directly that way. And that's the future that Microsoft's going for, and maybe Sony's now going to try and sort of take a leg up on that and say, hey, let's build the infrastructure first. This is going to be a long 5 to 10 year play, like Netflix was. Like Netflix started out with like mail your order DVDs, and they slowly behind the scenes built up server infrastructure around the world. And they were the first person to offer streaming TV in 136 countries in the world, whereas Hulu and Amazon Prime were like, oh my God, how are we going to catch up? And they still haven't caught up, which is why Netflix is where it is today. And I think, like, I guess I'm not a fan of anybody, right? But if Sony can do it, right, I think that would be the big cash cow for them to generate like ARR, right, which is annually recurring revenue, for the foreseeable future, and become a company that can compete with the likes of Microsoft and other big companies. And that's it.
Well, then I'm going to do my Nostradamus, look into my crystal ball, and I can tell you that the future generation of gaming, based on what you said, you all know, of course, the Amazon TV stick, Fire Stick. That would be your console. You put it, with all compressed games and everything, stick it behind your TV, take your pad, and that's it. Because smart TVs, you say you have smart TVs, but they still have an Amazon Fire Stick because smart TV is not really smart. I have an old TV, but still. And the stick does everything. And yeah, if you want to play games on your TV, I don't think the smart TV concept would work, but stick it behind, in your HDMI port behind, and that's it. So yes, I think you're right. It's gonna be a big cash cow if Sony can do that. To develop their Sony game stick, put it on your TV, and that's it.
Adam?
No, it's definitely going to go there eventually. I just think it's a ways out. I mean, as you can see right now, my internet is we are now broadcasting at 2.5 megabytes a second because my internet is not that great. And until it is, I would never want to be streaming gaming on something like that. And until it was available to me where I could, get a pretty good, because also, it's not just me using the internet. It's my wife also who's using the internet for work or for watching her videos. And, we don't have kids, but if you have a family in a house and everybody's on the internet, that's going to be, so you need to find a way to have internet accessible to everyone worldwide, basically anywhere. And until that happens, I would not personally want that to be the standard, but once that does happen, then yeah, that would be great.
I mean, I can just look forward to the day when I don't have to worry about my computer breaking down or something breaking down or upgrading hardware, and we just play in the cloud. And I can play on my big TV. I can go to my bedroom and play. I can stop outside on my bike and play on my phone, and it's all streaming, and it's all done on the cloud with NVIDIA or AMD's GPUs sitting in some server farm under the water or in Iceland somewhere. And I think that's awesome. That takes out so much headache. But I can imagine the next generation of maybe not the next generation of kids, but maybe Antoine's grandchildren will never know what a computer is, or will never know what a Switch is, or a PlayStation or an Xbox is, because those things will only have died by 2030, right, or something like that. So it's interesting.
You just need a monitor with a keyboard and a mouse, and you're good.
Yeah.
At this time, I just hope the Earth is not gonna blow up by 2050.
Now you got a couple more billion years until the sun expands.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about the sun, right?
Well, the Earth will still be here. We might not, but the Earth will be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we're still alive by 2050, maybe we'll get to see that. Fantastic.
Yes. All right, Adam, on to your second story.
All right, so for my second story, what we're going to be talking about is Blizzard. And, hang on. There we go. And what's happening is, where are my... Uh-oh, I lost all my articles. Sad. Oh, well, that's okay. So what's happening is we had just had BlizzCon this week. I believe it was on the 4th and the 5th, so it was 2 days. And they talked quite a bit about what was kind of coming out in the future. And one of the things that they talked about was the new World of Warcraft expansion, which is the War Within. They actually talked about how World of Warcraft is going to be. They talked about the next 3 expansions. So they're all going to be what they call the World Soul Saga. But there's been a little bit of backlash on one of the things that they're doing with the new expansion, which is that you can pay for early access to the expansion. I believe it's not even that long, maybe only about 3 days or so. But if you want to pay $90, you can have early access to this expansion, and it's dividing fans. And the reason for that is a lot of people are saying, again, this is kind of predatory behavior. You're just trying to squeeze a little bit of extra money out of your, people that are really big, your cash cows, your whales, or whatever. But part of the reason too is some people feel that because World of Warcraft is an MMO and part of an MMO is having that community, giving certain players access to the expansion early is going to cause problems with just the way people play, groups and guilds and stuff like that. If I hop on and it's day 1 for me, but it's day 4 for you, you might be a much higher level than I am. You might be doing new content that I don't have access to yet. And they were saying that it could really kind of divide guilds and divide groups on almost a class system where the haves and the have-nots. I don't know if that's that big of an issue, but apparently a lot of people do feel very strongly about this. And so yeah, they are divided as to whether this should be something done in the future, is giving people early access if they're willing to pay a little bit more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you're an FF14 player. If you pre-order the next extension, don't you have like a week pre-access before the official release?
You do, but then that's what people are saying is one of the differences between Final Fantasy 14 and WoW is that in Final Fantasy 14 it's just for pre-ordering. So basically anybody who pre-orders the game, or even if you bought, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like if you it's kind of an odd thing because the only way you can get access to the content is to pay for it. And as soon as you pay for it, you can start up to like a week early. So if you pre-order it, you get it a week. Everybody who pre-orders it gets it a week early. If you bought it 3 days before it releases, you can access it because you're effectively pre-ordering it. So in a way, it's you have early access, but anybody who buys it is going to have it. So because everybody has equal access to it, it's not really an issue. Whereas here, it's if you pre-order the game, but you pay this price, you don't have early access. Whereas if you pay extra, then you do have early access. And that's where people are getting the kind of this feeling from, is that, if you pay more, you get earlier access. Whereas in Final Fantasy 14, it doesn't matter how much you pay because everybody who pre-orders it, even if you get just the base game, would have that access. So yeah, I don't even know why they would call it early access at that point, because it really is kind of like if you pay for it, you get access to it. So the only way you wouldn't be able to play that early would be as if you bought it on the day it released. But if you bought it a week after release, you can't access it until you've bought it anyway. So it's kind of a weird, I guess it's a marketing thing, but yeah, so people feel it's different.
unless there's a set amount of pre-order, pre-order version.
No,
But
I don't think
there
so.
is. It's unlimited, yeah. No, but still, right. You play FF14, you pre-order, you have your week of pre-access for free. You play WoW, you have to pay extra, and then your friend, well, less fortunate than you, can play, and they'll have to wait through. No, yeah, you're right. It's well,
And you have to
again,
pay the $90 version. I'm not sure how much the base version would cost, so I don't know how much extra it is for that access.
but we are still on the line, as I was talking before with Diablo. That's Blizzard, right?
Yep.
As soon as you can make money, they will.
Yeah, if
It's
that's the thing, is if the
disappointing.
game is if the game is if the expansion is the $70 price of a regular game, that's $20. You have to pay $20 to get this early access. Whereas with, say, Final Fantasy 14, it's $0 to get that early access. So
Yeah, you can feel the greed of Blizzard.
yeah, so I don't really know.
Okay, story number 2, Antoine.
No comments on greed.
Fair enough. So I have two Nintendo story. I'm gonna start with the first one. Absolutely not surprising, and I think we mentioned it a month or two ago. You know that Nintendo made lots of money with a very successful release of Super Mario Bros. As a movie, right? Of course, and therefore, like, hey, if this works, why not try with other IPs? And that's it. It's official. Zelda will come out as a live action. So let me just take my notes. This is made with Nintendo and Sony Picture Entertainment, and it's with franchise creators Shigeru Miyamoto and Avi Arad. I don't know who Avi Arad is, but he apparently known for producing mega hit films. Will be involved in this project. And the one who will be directing the project is Wes Ball. Wes Ball, however you pronounce it, sorry. And yeah, so it's a live action, so I don't know if it's like one live action movie or a live action series like One Piece previously. If it's the same production values, then I'll be very happy. Let's all remember that Zelda was a cartoon, yes, back in the 90s, and it was a very terrible, creepy cartoon. So let's hope that the quality is going to be much better than that. So, but let's trust Nintendo because they might not be as greedy as Blizzard, but they like big bucks, and they want to have a big success, same as Super Mario did. And after if Mario was great, and if Zelda racking more money, then they're gonna continue and dig in their IPs and make more of these movies and live action series. So as long as they put the money and the love for it in it, that's gonna be fun. Not like what's his name, like a Paul Anderson movies, like make this guy stop, please.
The Uwe Boll guy.
The guy who did the Resident Evil, the Monster
Uwe Boll,
Hunter.
yeah.
Oh. No, not Uwe Boll. No, his successor, Paul Anderson, the husband of Mila Jovovich. Uwe Boll, he was doing this because in Germany there was some tax back and he was doing this for tax. Anderson, I don't know if he's doing this for the tax or it's just bad, but he has no love for the game. He's just doing them dirty, and that's terrible. But that's what it is.
I'd be really curious as to whether they would be adapting one of the Legend of Zelda stories from one of the games, or if this would be an entirely new story. I would assume they'd be going with a new one.
I think so too.
But yeah, because Zelda is one of those things where it's all kind of a, I don't know. It's kind of part. Some of them are multiverse. Some of them are expanded universe. Where they're happening thousands of years in the future. But it's essentially the same story, but it's kind of being retold and
you do
tweaks
have
and
a
changes here and there.
storyline.
Yeah, I mean
You do have
they're all kind of like, hey, get the what do I call them, the power
the Triforce.
Triforce. Yeah. It's like, get the Triforce, stop Ganon. But it plays out differently every single time, right?
Yes, but you still have the same recipe. Yeah, you still have the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
elements.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like cookies, right? They're all made of dough. They're all made with flour and egg, and but you have oatmeal cookies and you have chocolate chip cookies, and it's kind of like that. Um, but yeah, I'd be really curious as to whether they'd be doing an original story or adapting one of the ones that already existed. But yeah, like I would assume it's going to be an original story.
I I agree because you can, even though the recipe is always the same, you can have games as different as the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Still the same universe, right?
Yep.
And both games are fantastic. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what format they will use. Likely a movie, I'd say. I imagine with Sony, yeah, probably a movie. But if they are just announcing it now, don't wait for it until what 2025.
Yeah. I do
For
feel live
years.
action is an odd choice, though. I would have
Yes,
preferred they just go full CG, but
yes, I do agree. I would have preferred likely a Mario type movie. But again, One Piece did a really great live action. I was completely against live action before I saw One Piece, and then I saw that. Hey, you know what? And Kenshin did a great live action too. So let's give it a chance, I guess.
yeah, I think One Piece is a better example. Kenshin's a little more grounded in reality, but One Piece is a good example for kind of like
Well,
the
that's
wackiness of
because
it.
but because the manga is much more based on reality as well.
Yeah.
I'm finished. Your
Fran
turn.
has no comment.
No.
No, I mean it's just like you guys know more about this stuff than I do. On a side note, right? Quick question to either of you: who is, if I had to tell you the phrase, the father of Final Fantasy, and what's the name that would come to your mind?
There's a couple of them though.
It's not just one person.
In modern, no,
Yeah.
because you have plenty of, you have the guy who made the music is one of the father.
So it's not the music; it's the guy who directed.
Yeah, but
There's a
in
guy.
the
I mean, the father would be the guy who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it'd be I would say it would be the
honestly,
guy who created the original Final Fantasy, directed the original one. But at the same time,
yes.
But at the same
What's
time,
his name?
I can't remember his name.
honestly,
okay.
can't remember that either.
I can't remember his name.
Right now, I would say for the newer one, I would say Yoshi P.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like because Final Fantasy's kind of reinvented itself and had like ups and downs, and because of that, you have what's his name, Toriyama or whatever, and then there's
That's
the one
Dragon
that
Ball.
keeps talking about like Final Fantasy, the one who did Final Fantasy 7, because you have like yeah. If you want to talk about the father of Final Fantasy, is it the guy who created the series, or the guy who popularized the series, or the guy that gave it a lot of its tropes that we now associate with Final Fantasy? It's just such a long series; it's really hard to pin down. But I know who you're talking about because I've seen in a lot of articles. They're like, oh, this guy, blah, blah, blah. It starts with a U, I think.
I have a name of Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Yes.
Okay, maybe not the one I was thinking of then.
That's
okay. Because I just saw a story. I was going to ask you guys. Like, I've never heard of this name, and obviously, I've never heard. Like, I saw an article saying that he has a new project, and so the internet was like, "Oh my god, cool! A new IP like Final Fantasy." Yeah, but that's not my story though.
Okay.
That was just like, it's one of these. Like, I want to ask Adam and Antoine because that looked interesting, and like we talked about Star Citizen a few weeks ago, and not Peter Molyneux, Chris Roberts, right? Is another father of a gaming series, right? So that's why it came to mind. But my second story, very quickly, is a hardware story because apparently people are searching for this one particular motherboard, of course, made in Taiwan by Gigabyte, the B550M Aorus Pro, which is very strange, right? So if you're buying hardware, and again, 2 weeks until Black Friday. Black Friday starts on the 24th for everyone who has access to Amazon, which should be a fair amount of the world. And already, I want to remind people, right? You don't have to wait for Black Friday. There actually are already sales online for quite a few stores in your respective countries, even in Taiwan, right? We have Taiwanese people like, or China or Asian culture likes similar numbers. So in Taiwan, we have the sale for 11/11, right? November 11th is the big sale for stuff. We can go out and buy things really, really cheaply. So going back to what I said, so M means micro ATX. So if you're a guy, and if you're a guy of a certain size, you should not buy a small motherboard because it is very, very painful to put that stuff together. Micro ATXs are probably, if you're looking at Adam's picture and you're watching the video, it's about 25% of one section of the shelf that you're looking at on Adam's video. It's really tiny. It's one of those things you're building a micro ATX PC usually for. Okay, so there's that. Do not buy a micro ATX motherboard. So this is, I don't know why people are searching for this. It's really too small. If you're living in a cold country, that's fine as well. But if you live in a hot country, your micro ATX PC is likely to combust, and you'll be buying a new one pretty soon because it's just too small to sort of do any sort of modern gaming, plus deal with heat issues. The other downside of this motherboard is it only supports up to Ryzen 5000 series, right? So AMD is already on 7000 series, right, which supports DDR5, which is the latest sort of standard of well, not the latest, but the best sort of standard RAM. So again, not a great idea. But overall, this is a pretty good. This motherboard will probably set you back. I didn't even look at the price of this, but I can probably guess anywhere from like $50 to $100. Motherboards are pretty cheap, and these are pretty small. So when you're buying a micro ATX motherboard, because it's so small, you're going to be putting it in a small case. You need to pay really special attention to the size of the graphics card. Because graphics cards can go anywhere from like this to like that, and lay my hands almost on the edge of the screen, because some graphics cards are really, really big. So, and then again, when you're buying special smaller graphics cards, they can be more expensive because you have to deal again with the cooling issue, which is always a pain. But basically, yeah, this is a decent sort of mid-level motherboard that if you're building a small PC, you should go for it. I would not build this in a big case like what I have. I think I've been to Adam's house and saw his computer, so I wouldn't put this inside Adam's case either because Adam's case needs a full-size ATX motherboard, right? So on computers, right, you have three standards: eATX, which is the biggest size, which is what you really want as a guy, or as a woman with really big hands, or an ATX motherboard, or an MATX. And this is an MATX, which is again not ideal, but yeah. Cool motherboard, pretty affordable. You can still get a really good gaming PC running up, but again, this is more meant for living room PCs, PCs for kids, or PCs in a small apartment where you don't have space for a 20-kilogram case. Okay, and I'm done.
Yeah, I wouldn't really care about size for putting it together. I'd be more worried about down the road with heat and that sort of thing.
It's as in 20 years I've been doing this size, it just makes it more frustrating when you're trying to put in your RAM slot and you're plugging in the cable that gives the power to the motherboard, and the cable and the RAM all in the same place, and you cut your fingers on the pins, and it's just you don't want to bleed all over your nice motherboard. No, it's it's not good. Like things just no. You should care about the size because I will never ever buy a small PC. I'd rather buy a ready built one than build a small PC because that's how much of a pain it is. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to go through my list of what I need to buy to build my new PCs. I haven't done that.
Yeah. You should because on certain stuff it will actually this price chart on Amazon, so you can see that as the price changes. And for certain components, it's actually cheaper to buy before Black Friday.
Yeah, I need to get.
You should get ready and have a look and place your order.
I should. Yeah, I do need to come up with a list. I was looking at PC Price Picker the other day, or PC Parts Picker the other day, and looking at.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. Look at my range, and I saw one that I was like, okay, this one looks pretty decent for. This one looks like around my price range, and I guess it's what I want. So.
Cool. You heard it first on Middle Age Gaming, and from Korean, size matters.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, Adam, final story of today.
So my final story is again about World of Warcraft, or at least Blizzard. So I'm doing a twofer today. I'm kind of cheating. Sorry about that. But oh, hang on. Why is it doing what it's doing right now? There we go. Okay,
Yeah, a real
and
Blizzard special today.
yeah, I know, right? So, but this one is a little bit happier news. So now with the acquisition of Blizzard by Microsoft, a lot of people are wondering, will Blizzard come, or will Blizzard obviously will World of Warcraft come to the Xbox console? Because obviously we do have MMOs on consoles. Final Fantasy 14 it will be coming to Xbox soon. A lot of people have been wondering, can World of Warcraft do it? And Xbox said, we're looking at it basically. This is something that we think is a really cool idea. We don't have plans to do it necessarily today, but we are talking about the possibility of it, and it is something that we would like to do down the line. And yeah, so we might be seeing World of Warcraft coming to consoles at some point. Again, because you know this acquisition just went down, and the recent expansion has just come out, and they're very busy with a lot of things happening right now. That's not something that is actively on the table, but it is something that they're kind of talking about on the side. So that's kind of exciting news, kind of interesting. I've seen people online saying like, "Oh, why this isn't possible? Why would you ever do this? This is a terrible idea." And I completely disagree because A, Final Fantasy 14 is on consoles and it works flawlessly. It's beautiful. And B, just with the last expansion, Blizzard added controller support for the PC version of the game. So they are actively trying to find a way that people can play the game with a controller and have it work, as well as it does with a keyboard. And because of that, if you can do it on PC, why can't you do it on console? So, if you are a WoW person, then this is possibly something to look forward to. Also, if I had to guess, I think that they would do something which I really wish Final Fantasy would do, but they don't, which is uh, cross-platform access. So currently with Final Fantasy 14, I can play it on my PlayStation. If I want to play it on my computer, I would have to buy a license for each individual expansion. Again, Phil did that. So, you basically have to buy the game twice. Your account can be shared between, say, the Steam version and the PlayStation version, but you would have to buy both the Steam version and the PlayStation version to have access to the game on two systems. If I had to guess, I would think with the way Microsoft's been doing things with Xbox and PC, I would assume that if you have WoW on PC, you would have instant access to WoW on console. At least I hope you would, because again, unlike other games, this one is kind of subscription based, so you are kind of playing it constantly. So I do feel that it, yeah, I've already bought the game once. I'm paying a monthly fee. It'd be nice if I could just access it on the PC without having to re-buy the license for it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a legal thing. I don't know. But I would think that they would do this.
What's the difficulty of putting an MMO on a console? For someone
That I
who
don't know how
does.
much you would have to. Oh well, he's talking about controls there, but yeah, I don't know how much. I don't know what you'd have to do in terms of development because I feel like on some level, if you've been, uh, you'd have to basically redevelop the game almost from scratch with the console in mind. I'm not really sure what it would take. Consoles are more like PCs these days, so I'm not sure how much you could carry over and how much you would have to kind of tweak. So I don't know what would be involved in creating it. I don't know if you'd have to basically create a console version from the ground up, or if you could salvage how much of the PC version and what you'd have to adapt. I don't know that. Um, but as far as controls go, with like Antoine was saying, they found a very great solution to that, and it works very very well. I would say the only thing that can be a little bit difficult, and you can get used to it, but the only thing that can be a little bit difficult is if you have certain attacks that are ground targeted, particularly with healers. Healers, I know some people struggle with healing in Final Fantasy on the console just because you have to toggle between different characters so quickly to, because you're like, okay, this guy needs healing now, that guy needs healing, and you need to switch targets quite quickly. Whereas normally with tab targeting for DPS or tank, you don't really have to switch your targets that often. Um, So that can be a little bit difficult, but you can get used to it. And they do have macros for a lot of things where they'll say like, okay, with this ground targeting thing, rather than going into manual targeting and saying where I want to place it on the ground, you can just have a macro that says, okay, cast it on whoever you're currently targeting. And typically that would be the tank. And so it's like, okay, just drop this thing on top of the tank and you're fine. So yeah, it does work. You can get used to it. So
What do you think, Antoine?
Not much, because as Adam said, apparently it works flawlessly, fantastic. I would be just too scared to play with only a few buttons when I have my whole keyboard. And after that, is it hard to port on Xbox? I imagine there's power limitation between Series S and X, but again, Warcraft is an old game. It's not very pretty, right? It's not Cyberpunk. I don't think there's gonna be an issue on that front. Yeah, no, it's a good news. I'm just waiting for Battle.net to fuse with the Xbox app, to have it on the PC Game Pass. And but we'll see, because I think even though the Activision Blizzard is going to be purchased by Microsoft, I still think it's about a year, for the deal to actually be processed. It's not going to be right now, so I don't know what kind of level of cooperation they can have between the two companies at this time. But it's very good to have more options on console. Like spread the games. Spread them through all the console. I'm very anti-exclusive, so very happy with that.
yeah, I would say as far as controls, the difficulty is no harder than learning how to play like a flute or something like that. Where you have multiple keys and then you have to have a couple different things. No, it's it might seem daunting at first, really, but if you or an ocarina or any kind of instrument, if a guitar, it seems daunting at first, but then you do it for a little while and it starts to kind of become second nature, and you get faster and you get faster and you get faster. And with gaming, it's a hobby that you're having for fun, so you'd pick it up really quick.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem very compatible with 1 hour of gameplay a day Korean schedule.
It could be, it could be if you're not used
smash
to
my
it.
controller.
Yeah, so somebody like Korean who's predominantly on PC, it could be difficult to because Korean said like just the whole controller in general gives him trouble, right? But if you're a normal console player, you've already got all the muscle memory for all the buttons and everything. So it's just the slight difference of like I'm used to playing classical music on the flute, and now I'm going to play some jazz on the flute. It's you can already play the flute. You're fine. You can already if you can already use your controller, you're going to be fine. No problem.
Very good points. Antoine, what's your final story of the day?
It's not much of a story, but I just wanted to make I'm missing Phil's quiz, so I wanted to make a little quiz myself, and so I have the 10 best-selling Nintendo Switch games, and I was wondering how many out of the 10 you can find. So go ahead, can you try to find at this time right now which one are the 10 best sellers on the Switch?
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Number 4.
Okay, Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey, no, actually. Oh, no, sorry. Number 5. Yeah.
Adam, if you want to throw some in there.
Is Pikmin on there?
Which one, sorry?
Pikmin, the little plant dudes and
Pikmin.
Nah, sing big Nintendo IP, you'll be fine.
All right. Animal Crossing.
Of course, Animal Crossing number 2. There's one over it.
I can see a picture here. I haven't scrolled down, so I haven't seen the list, but I can see a picture of Splatoon, so I'm going to say Splatoon.
And you're wrong. No Splatoon. Because
they put a picture on there. They lied to me. They tricked me.
Okay. No.
Mario
Kart? Oh, yeah.
Which one, sorry?
Mario Kart?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, with 57 million copies, is number 1. far in front of Animal Crossing with 43 million copies.
The newer Zelda game, which I don't remember the name,
Tears of
but
the
the one
Tears
that
of
came
the-
out.
Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom is number 9 and rising rapidly.
Okay.
I want to say Super Smash, but I don't think it's gonna make it.
Super Smash Bros. I saw it somewhere. Yes, number 3 actually. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are missing 6 and 7, which I don't understand how you can have missed it. To be honest.
Okay, so we did the two major Zelda games. We got the biggest Super Mario game, which is the release title when the Switch came out.
I'm guessing it's not gonna be Metroid. It could be Metroid, but I don't think it's Metroid.
Metroid is
What if
too niche.
Yeah.
What if I give you what if I say Game Freak?
A Pokemon. Obviously.
Oh yes.
Of course, Pokemon.
Pokemon.
6 and 7. Sword and Shield on 6.
I feel
7
foolish
is
for
Scarlet
not
and
having
Violet.
guessed that. You're right. That should have been obvious.
We're old. I can't keep it all in my brain
I love
anymore.
Pokemon. I should have known that.
You are missing 8 and 10, which are
Also
both Mario.
Oh.
Mario.
I figured I was like, there's got to be at least more than one Mario game.
Okay,
So
so
what?
which
yeah.
Marios do you think? One of them, I'm sure you won't find it.
Mario RPG?
Well, what is coming out?
That's RPG's coming out too, right?
Yeah, RPG is coming out next week, so it's not that. Is it Wonder?
No, you
No,
said
it's
Wonder
Wonder.
earlier.
Yeah.
I said Odyssey earlier.
Yeah, you said Odyssey earlier, yeah.
So it's got to be. Is it Super Mario Maker?
No, but it's a very old Mario, which has been on every console since.
Super Mario
3.
3D World.
World was
Super
not on
Mario
the original
Bowser's Fury.
console.
But it was also remastered on the Switch.
It has a remaster on number 10. The remaster is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
God, I never heard that. Okay.
And number 8 is, shall I give it to you?
Yes.
Mario Party.
Oh, of course.
Singing Mario Party, but then I was like, nah. Too niche.
And no, actually, number 8 on the list, soon to be, of course, overtaken by Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, no. So 2 Pokemons, plenty of Mario, and 2 Zelda.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey.
Hey, remind me, what's number 1 again?
Number 1 was
close
Mario Kart Deluxe.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart is the best-selling game in
Mario
the
Kart 8 Deluxe.
By far. 10 million copies over in front of number 2.
Yeah,
and you know what? Since I saw that now,
57.01 million sales. And
You know what?
then
I'm
number
gonna
2,
have to
Animal
play
Crossing
Animal
New
Crossing
Horizon
now.
is 43.38 million. So
Animal
it's,
Crossing is awesome.
yeah. So this
I
is
never played. I was
14
too lazy
million
to play
more.
it.
I can't believe it. Like, I mean, Mario Kart is fun, but it's not like single player fun. Like, so that's what like I don't understand, because Mario Kart isn't it like Mario Party? You have to play with people to have fun.
Yes, but Mario Kart is way more fun than Mario Party.
Let's see.
Really, but I think Mario Kart is such a single. It's like a driving game, right? Whereas Mario Party, there's lots of different games for a wide variety of people. So.
Because you're focused on racing, you're focused on getting better and better and better and better, and it's very addicting. While Mario Party is just one game with friends once in a while. Well, I was very addicted with Mario Double Dash on GameCube when I was a student, and we were playing that all the time with my friends. And you get to miss it. When you're trying to beat your ghost. Just you can play with friends. Okay, try to beat your ghost, or play online and beat other people. It's really addicting. I can understand the thrill.
That's good to know. I guess I haven't played like a driving game since the last Need for Speed game, which is okay. That's interesting. Thank you, Antoine. That was probably. I think that is the best way to end off the show, and we don't even need to do my last story
Metroid
because
is 35. That's so low. There are 2 Kirby games higher than a Metroid game. This saddens me greatly.
Poor
understand.
Samus.
Because like you look at the hype behind the Metroid game, and it's just like you look at all the media and the social media, and like it's out. Oh yay! 2 weeks later, Metroid's gone from the social media ether.
I know. Metroid is like Valkyria, where it has this like extremely dedicated fan base, but it's not big. It's niche, but it is extremely loved within that niche.
right, gents. What are we playing this week? We'll go Antoine. Actually, if Antoine has time to play.
I finished Sea of Stars yesterday, and that was absolutely fantastic. Multiple endings, drama, and
Are you gonna
happy
play again?
endings. And am I gonna play again? Honestly, I don't think so, because before Platinum the game, I only missed couple of stuff which I don't see the point of spending more time. I had fantastic time with it. Play it. It's a very, very good game. Now I think I'm gonna, how can I say? I'm supporting Bordeaux in League 2 of France. They are so terrible. They are 17 out of 20. Therefore, I'm gonna go play Football Manager 24, which just came on Game Boy and PC Game Pass. I'm gonna be crap, but at least for a couple of weeks, I'm gonna try to prove that I can be better than the current management. Just because, I'm so frustrating to get beaten every single weekend. I'm just sad for my team.
Adam, what about you? So
I
Neil,
will be, I'll still be cranking through Neo 2. I'm in the second to last area, I think. So I'm closing in at the end. Once it's done, I think if I remember correctly, Persona 5 Tactica comes out this week, so I'll probably switch over to that. Otherwise, I have so many other things in the backlog. I still got Persona 5 Strikers, and I still have Forspoken, which came out back in January, and I still have my Akiba's Trip DLC from May. I got a lot of stuff in the backlog, but yeah, I'll probably be finishing Neo 2. I'll see if I finish it this week or not, and if I do, maybe Persona 5 or yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try something. Maybe I'll hop back into Frozen Flame or something. I've been looking. They haven't updated it yet, but maybe I should just hop in and screw around in there for a bit. So we'll see.
for me, I almost was like, I was really irritated by Super Mario Bros. Wonder last week because there was this weird jump, and I died like 5 times, and I have had like 15 lives. I went down to 8. I'm like, oh my god, if I get down to 0, I'm gonna have to start the whole game from the beginning, because of course, being a middle-aged gamer, I thought, oh yeah, it's just like the old Super Mario Bros. And you run out of lives, you start the whole game over from the beginning. But no, they just give you an additional 5 lives. But I tried a whole bunch of stuff on my Switch last week, and I went back to Super Mario Bros. But I think for me, I'm gonna try and finish that soon, because going back to Disney's Dreamlight Valley, right? That's switching to a paid game in December, and with a whole new world coming out, and with a paid expansion next year, which is really exciting. So I might go back to PC gaming soon. I also want to buy Dave the Diver on the Switch, which is of course a very famous game. A guy who dives and runs a sushi bar at the same time, and it looks really cool. So might just play that until like December time, but we'll see. But yeah, more Nintendo Switching for me for this week, and yeah, that's it. So very cool. As always, guys, thank you for waking up early or and staying awake late. Oh yeah, because it is daylight savings time, so it has changed. The clocks have changed, so it's not too late for Antoine, right? Very good. Then we will see you guys same time next week. Keep an eye out for December. We might have some ideas for, let's say, non-news based shows to sort of round off the end of the year. Maybe give the guys a break so they can enjoy the last week of the year. We'll see. And then we'll see you guys next week.
Catch you later.
Yeah.